Welcome back to No Man's Sky, everyone. Jason here, and good news, bad news. Good news, the update for No Man's Sky, the Voyagers update, is out for Nintendo Switch. The bad news is, if you have an original Switch, it doesn't do anything. So let's get into the details. There's also a new patch out for every other platform as well. Suspiciously not for the Switch. I think I'm going to speculate and stuff like that, but we'll get into the details. So first, let's go over what's going on with this Switch version. So I have the original Nintendo Switch version right here. So this is my original Nintendo Switch, right? Let's get in here. Actually, first, let's get in here. It is No Man's Sky version 6.0.0. This is the Voyagers update edition. It's 6.0 is Voyagers, right? So I am playing on the most recent, the most up-to-date version for the Nintendo Switch. If we go into the game, it says, yeah, the current backup and download status of your save data is an error because some of these are not running well. So the saves aren't cross-saving because this version is kind of funky. Let me show you why. If you go to New Game, there is no expedition. This is the original Switch, the Switch 1. There's no expedition, right? And then if you go into my main save, I had to go back to an older save from before the actual, what's it called? The Voyagers update came out. So I go back to my main save too. Right here. This is my main save from back in June. I had to do this because for some reason, new saves, anything that's saved currently, and if you have like a Corvette in it, it will not work. And it's because there are no Corvette pieces. You cannot build a Corvette in the original Switch version. So I'm going to load into the space anomaly and I can show you that there's nothing here. It's like the Corvettes don't exist. And it looks like Corvettes will not be coming to the original Switch. So that means no expedition, because the expedition is all about, it is centered on building a new Corvette, you guys. So if you don't have Corvettes, you cannot do the expedition. And I have a feeling, I'm speculating here, also because of the loading screen, I'm speculating here that they probably were going back and forth with Nintendo over the past couple of weeks, 3 weeks now, trying to figure out how they can do this without releasing it on the Nintendo Switch, the Corvette. So if you go over here, and let me show you, the Corvette landing pads. Look at that, nothing. Nothing. There's no Corvette landing pads. They should be right here. There's no Corvette landing pads anywhere. You go to the space station, you go to the space anomaly, all you see is normal landing pads. And so I feel like they probably had to build a separate version for the original Switch because it just cannot handle any of the Corvette pieces. So that's what it is. No Man's Sky on the original Switch cannot do the Corvettes at all, and that's a big feature. They also still don't have any settlements. You can go check. The original Switch does not have settlements. So there's going to be limitations on the original Switch. But let's jump into the new Switch 2 version of the game and see how that is running. So I've switched over to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of No Man's Sky, and I forgot how hardcore the loads are, or the downloads are on the Switch. So I am on version 6.0.0. They're on the same version, but this is the Switch 2 edition. So this is the Switch 2 version. Oh, we need to load it in from my old one to my new one. There we go. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. I know. Load into the system. Now let's try it again. That one, and load it. Sorry, technical difficulties. This is the first time I've ever switched a game between them. There you go. When I originally set up my Switch 2, I just set it all up and I moved everything over. So I'm going back and forth now. But this is the Switch 2 version of No Man's Sky. Let's see if all my saves and everything updated. Voyagers! Immediately as soon as we get into the Switch 2 version, we have the Voyagers update. And then we have a menu here as well. This looks very similar to the other ones. But let's see. Oh, it did keep... Wait a minute, is that a different version? That's a different version. Okay, it did keep my different version here. We have one that's on a... We don't. All right, well, let's go in here. Well, actually, first, let's go to a new game. The Corvette Expedition is here on the... Again, this is the Switch 2 version. That is the Switch 2 version of No Man's Sky. The Corvette Expedition is here. You can do it. You got 4 weeks left. They did not delay the expedition, so there is no like, oh God, we have to delay it. Nope, you have 4 weeks, so you better get on it and get fast. All right, let's jump on my main save from a different month. I don't think I updated that one, but we're gonna load it again. And as far as I can tell, it is the 6.0 version of No Man's Sky, meaning it is the Corvette Expedition, or it is the Corvette update. You can build your Corvettes in the Switch 2 version. However, it has not gotten all the patches and fixes, so it might be a little bit rocky. I have a feeling, and again, this is speculation, I have a feeling that Hello Games was going back and forth with Nintendo because they could not put the Corvettes on the original Switch. They had to figure out something. I'm sure that Nintendo was like, look, are you sure? Can you really try? Because it's going to feel kind of weird. Or maybe Hello Games themselves was like, it feels kind of weird to not have it on one versus the other one. Because like the Xbox One version, the PS4 version, is the same as all the other versions. They run a little bit rougher, but they have everything. The Nintendo Switch is the only version that does not really have all the content, which is kind of bad. Let's go up here to the Space Anomaly. And see, because that's the quickest one. I mean, we could go to the space station if we wanted to. But the Space Anomaly is the fastest one to kind of see what's going on here. Oh, wait a minute. Let me do this. All right. Now let's go to the Space Anomaly right in there. Get back in there. All right. Space Anomaly. And I will say it looks a lot smoother on the Nintendo Switch 2. Of course. I thought it was going to be heavy, like all the Corvettes were going to make it run worse, but no. And look at that. We already see the Corvettes right here. Boom, landing pads. Oh, and I forgot to turn my multiplayer on for Switch, so I am in here. But yeah, Corvettes are here, and they're loading in. Oh my God, okay, never mind. That frame rate, it went to hell as soon as it loaded in, everybody. Hello, everyone. But yeah, Corvettes are here in the Switch 2 version, not in the... Oh, I can't go out there. What? Oh yeah, I forgot. You got to teleport. You're not allowed to just jump over there. I forgot. But yeah, you can go out to landing pads and you can build your own Corvette if you want in the Switch version. There's a little tiny guy. Yeah. Just like in every other version. Frame rate's a little bit iffy, but I mean, it is a Nintendo Switch. So yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 to be specific. But yeah, look at this. Boom. It works. It works. The Nintendo Switch 2 has Corvettes. Nintendo Switch 1 does not. Even though they both say that they are the 6.0 Voyagers update, the original Switch just cannot handle Corvettes. So there you go. That is the Switch situation, but we have some patch notes to go over. So let's go over. This is going to be a massive freaking video, but let's go over the patch notes for the Voyager 6.05 update to, or patch to, No Man's Sky. So if we jump over here, Voyager 6.05, and again, you'll notice it says PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series S and X, and Game Pass. Nintendo Switch has not been on any of the patches, so they just got the 6.0 update, but they have not gotten any patches, so be aware of that. And I haven't seen any patch notes for them either, meaning they are probably really having a hard time with the Switch trying to get it to work with the Corvettes. So let's go into the details. This is September 17th, 2025. Voyager 6.05 on all platforms except for the Switch. So the first one, and I thought this was great, added a new thermal grill cap Corvette structural decoration. So This is not really a big deal. I mean, it's kind of cool. The biggest thing for me is they are adding pieces in patches, not updates, patches. So theoretically, they can add a whole bunch of stuff in a patch versus just an update, like a big update. That is awesome, and that's something I wanted to point out. They can add in stuff, and we don't even know about it. It's just in a patch note. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, we added a whole new piece for you to build with. That is freaking awesome. And then we have corvettes will now spawn correctly on player bases after teleporting. So a big thing that I ran into was you teleport to your base, and then your corvette would try to land on a landing pad, but it was off to the side, or because the corvettes are huge, they could be like placed anywhere. So now they should spawn correctly, but I mean, depending on how big your corvette is, it's gonna vary. And then we have fixed a bug which caused refiners placed on corvettes to lose materials. This is like the third time they've done this. I was speculating in a stream that they probably fixed certain things and then they had to, you know, revert back for other things. So this is like the third time they fixed the bug that made you lose your materials in a refiner. Maybe they fixed the actual corvette refiner that you build into the wall, and normal refiners were having issues still. I don't know, but they fixed it again. Hopefully it sticks this time, and it's for all refiners, but we'll see. We will see. And then we have added an option to apply color and material changes to all parts of a Corvette. So this is awesome, and I was asking for this. Before, you had to manually select each piece and color it. Now, you can just apply it to all, which is awesome. You don't have to, if you want like all your ship entirely red, you could just apply all and it's all red. Now, if you want to change different pieces to different colors, you're going to have to do that by hand. But I love the option that's just like, apply all. I don't want to go to each individual piece and paint each individual piece red or purple or whatever. So that is freaking awesome. And then we have fixed an issue that caused companion accessory attachments to appear on some wild creatures in the discoveries page. I saw Heather Silvermist run into this. So you would scan a creature to scan it, a wild one in the world on a planet. And then if you go to the info page in the pause menu, it would have all the cool attachments for your pet. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. I didn't make that into a pet. They fixed that. It was some weird visual bug. I don't know why. Then we have a whole bunch of VR fixes. So if you play in VR, there is a ton of optimization and fixes for you coming through. Also upgraded to OpenVR version 2.12.14. I don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Very important there. And finally, we have, or not finally, but, and we also have fixed a memory optimization for Xbox, fixed a visual issue around PSVR 2, and fixed a visual issue on PS5. Again, they have not been adding Nintendo. Usually you see like Nintendo Switch in these notes. I have not seen Nintendo Switch since the release of Voyagers. So this is going to be a little bit rough. Nintendo Switch is going to be having a long wait for all these fixes and patches because, dang, they are working hard, but it is not working with the Nintendo Switch. And this is finally optimized Discovery Server network traffic, fixed a crash that could happen when flying your ship, fixed a crash that could occur when using DLSS, fixed a crash that could occur when building a Corvette on a Steam Deck. So there's a ton of fixes in here. And finally, the Nintendo Switch has the update, kind of. The Switch 2 has the update. As far as I can tell, everything about it up till 6.0. They don't have any of the new fixes, the new optimization, so keep in mind, the bugs are going to be there, but they can build Corvettes and do all that stuff. The Expedition is there. If you're on the original Switch, it is not there. You have 6.0, but there are no Corvettes, and we haven't seen any notes. There's nothing that says anything about the Switch version. So I'm assuming they just wanted to kind of slide under the radar. I don't know, but maybe they were just like, look, we've been going back and forth. We just cannot get it to work, so we're finally just going to release the update on the Switch 2 and just say, sorry, Switch 1 original owners, it's not going to work for you. Just like settlements, just like some other stuff. Multiplayer does not work in the original Switch, only on the Switch 2 version. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Sorry, guys, it's here. but not how we wanted it. So anyway, if you like the video, hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time.